Good evening, everyone. I'm calling this council meeting to order. This is the April 18th city council meeting. And let's see who I can get to read the Pledge of Allegiance. How about Commander Clark?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Wadsworth.
Here.
Councilman Sindretto,
Here.
Councilman Reed,
Here.
Councilwoman Funk,
Here.
Councilwoman Alcazar.
Here.
Okay. Thank you. Everyone's in attendance. So now, I'll take a motion for the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'm gonna have to remove the regular meeting minutes for a correction.
Okay.
But after that, I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
Second,
and that's as amended.
as amended.
As amended. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Sandra, aye.
Wadsworth, aye.
Reed, aye.
Alcazar, aye.
Funk, aye.
Okay. Motion carries. All right, the minutes.
Correction on page 16 of 17, the original meeting minutes, item number 2. It's attributing an entire conversation to myself. Where you brought up traffic counters and I said, I'm just want to go ahead and do a task order to have traffic control devices put in. So it's saying I authorized or said agreed to do traffic counters, but there's no previous commentary to such, which was your commentary.
No.
So we need to make a correction in there and add that specific piece of commentary that you
Okay.
said to put out traffic counters. I said it needed to be a task order for putting in devices to control speed.
Okay, so the part that starts, I am in agreement to establish a task order, but that was me, or that
No.
was you?
That I
That
was in
part was you.
agreement to establish a task order for control devices.
Okay,
But you said prior in there somewhere. Probably. I'm guessing between 1 and 2,
okay.
you said. That,
We had traffic counters.
and we should put
use.
them out, yep. And if there are no further amendments to that, I'll approve as amended. Or motion to approve as amended.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, second by Ms. Funk. And all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Sandra, do I?
Wadsworth, aye.
Reed, aye.
Funk,
aye.
Alcazar, aye.
Okay, motion carries. Margaret, just so I'm going to read this to you, what I've added. We have traffic counters. Maybe we should put them out. And that's in between sentence 1 and sentence 2.
I have it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So then we have the approval of the agenda. And I do have some changes to the agenda. So the first thing I'd like to say is item 2 under discussion. we'll probably need to go into an executive session. And that number is 4230 101
110.
1G.
It's 110.
Yeah. Oh, 110. 110. Sorry. 1G. And that's personnel discussion. And then
Additional
the,
personnel one, is that the one we're talking about?
yes, it's item 2 under discussion.
Okay,
I2, you want to move to executive session. A2. Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
okay.
And then.
Are we removing I2?
Yes. And then I would like to add a discussion item I2, which will be Mr. Parker talking about our lease options, because our lease will expire in September. He would like to have some idea of how we want to proceed. Okay, does anyone have any other changes?
Hearing none, I motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Sandra, aye.
Wadsworth, aye.
Reed, aye.
Funk, aye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, are there any visitors here to comment that would like to comment? Is there anyone online that would like to comment? Okay.
John Allen wants to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Allen, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
This is only for non-agenda items.
Oh,
correct?
non-agenda, yes. Is this, is this something on the agenda?
No, it's not. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I guess I'm going back to what I've been trying to do all along. But I want to put it in a time schedule of how things have transpired. And I would ask you to pay really close attention to this. On 4/14 of 22 of this last year, I made application with the city for the short plot and paid $500 to do so. As of May 4th of this year, the letter from the city said this process had been completed. Then on June 16th, I get a letter from the city saying that they have several steps that I need to do in order to make the application complete. At that time, after that, Title 17 was finally had the second reading in July 5th of this last year. I made application before the change in Title 17, so I should be brought into the old code of Title 17 rather than the new, because the application was before those dates. And it was. So I should be adhering to the old code because the new code hadn't existed as of then. So it was talked about, but it wasn't passed until after. So everything should be brought up of what I did and should go to the old Title 17 and not the new Title 17, which was not done. So Title 17 also says that the short plots were to be in the old code were 4 lots and no more. In the new code, it was extended to 9. And Mayor, you lost your position in the old code from being the administrator of the short plots to what we have now. You were there in charge of all that, and you were to be in charge of that, and it was in the old code that you were that. And that changed. And so if I would have followed through with the filing, and I would like to read this because I think it's important. Approval and filing under 1712.080. And I will quote to this that if the application is either approved or conditionally approved, the applicant must satisfy all conditions and submit the original short plot map to the administrator for final approval. At that time, Mayor, that was you. And submit the original short plot map to administrator for approval. That is you, okay? The applicant shall record the original short plot map with the Benton County Auditor. The short divisions is not legal subdivision and lots may not be sold if it is not recorded with the Benton County Auditor. That was in the old code. All that changed in the new code. And when I brought that up to you, all of you in the city council a while back, that I wanted you to look into Title 17. This is one and several others. And that's why I brought it up, because this affects everybody. And it did affect me in a very big way. And so I'm going to say that I should be to the old code, not to the new, because that's the dates and that's the timeline. I do have the check. I do have the date that it was written, and I do have all that I have that. That's not a problem. So I would ask you to be considerate of all this and understand and do what's right. Because this has gone on long, way long, too long. So I would ask you to do that. And I guess I'll get up. If you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right. The next item then is regular reports. And we have the staff report and the treasurer's report, I believe, are in the packets. Are there any committee meeting reports?
Since our last meeting, I've attended the executive committee meeting for Ben Franklin Transit, as well as the regular board meeting. Nothing huge on the horizon other than updates of the building at the Ben Franklin Transit Center that's going on, as well as Queensgate Transit Center and that process. Some approvals for adjusting of those budgets and new staff positions being hired. There's some discussion about extending free fare service to some large events in the Tri-Cities. But other than that, nothing about.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right, then we will move to the sheriff's report. Commander Clark.
Thank you. Good evening.
Don't forget to eat the mic.
Yeah. All right, this is Commander Matt Clark with the Sheriff's Office. And we got a pretty small report. For the month of March, we had 126 calls for service here in Benton City. Out of those 126 calls, we had 10 case reports. So again, we've seen a decline from this time last year where we had 260 calls for service. So again, we like to see that in the sheriff's office and in the community with the calls going down. Nothing major is on our radars here in Benton City. Everything is going the way it should be going. This weekend on April 22nd, again, I wanted to remind everybody that we are doing the drug take back. That's going to be at the Benton City Fire Station. So if anybody wants to come out and basically turn in some of their prescriptions that they no longer need, we will be out there with the community, and the fire department will be there and we'll take those back. So other than that, unless you guys have questions, that's about all I got.
I do have a request.
Okay.
We have speeders again.
Okay.
On, three places that are really bad. 7th, Babs going into 14th, all the way up 14th, and on, Kendall Road. So I'm wondering if you can put, some of your,
Yeah, and I can
signs
make
out there or
I can make
something.
the request to get our radar trailer put out there as well. Which area would you like us to focus on first?
I think I'll have you talk with Alan because he is going to have a task order on some ideas of what we can do, if we can
Okay.
put in speed bumps or what, he's going to look into a number of technologies. So Alan, could you make a point to call Commander Clark?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, and anytime that you guys have those complaints, definitely feel free to reach out to me. We got a radar trailer that we move throughout the county. If we have particular times of the day that we're looking at as well, we'll try to get extra enforcement out there too
Okay,
for the traffic.
all right.
Something we discussed last meeting, is there any potential to get like traffic safety funds from the state to do an emphasis for traffic out here?
For the like distracted driving.
Something, yeah.
So the state, we do participate with the state grants. It's the Target Zero. We can talk with them, see if we can do an emphasis and get deputies out here involved with the high visibility patrols. And try to bring in some extra overtime to get that done.
Great, that would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So now I'm going to close the regular council meeting. And I'm going to open the public hearing on the ordinance 1053, which is the adoption of the I-82 South Sub-Area Plan. So that meeting is open. Is there anyone here that wants to speak about the I-82 development?
Mayor Lehman, this is Michael Mahaffey, and I just wanted to mention that I and my colleague Lawrence Kamar are online and happy to answer any questions. I don't think we need to go through the material that I know the council has already seen, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone here have any questions of Mr. Mahaffey or Mr. Kamar? Is there anyone online that would like to speak about it? Okay, I guess everybody's happy with it. So,
I might mention very briefly, just to recap, that this is the ordinance to approve the master plan. And then there's also, of course, the design standards and the overlay zone that I described in our last council meeting. So again, just to be clear about the different moving parts here, this is the approval of the master plan that council is being asked to move forward on tonight. And my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the the planning commission has approved for referral to the council this action. So I think they're ready for you to act on it tonight.
yes, thank you. That's true. And it is on the agenda. It's pretty far down on the agenda, but it's on there. Okay. So with hearing no requests to speak on the public hearing, I'm going to close the public hearing and reopen the city council meeting. So the next item we have is a discussion item, and that is the franchise agreement renewal with Lightspeed Networks. And I believe that Mr. Hyde is going to discuss that with us.
At our last council meeting where this was considered, council member Sandretto asked about something to put in there about undergrounding. We actually, I drafted some language. We ran it past a contact I had, and Carla ran it past her contact at the franchise company, and they were okay with that.
Okay.
The only thing that I would say as a cautionary flag is we said everything shall be undergrounded unless they receive a variance from the council.
Correct.
And there may be times when there could be no undergrounding effectively without limiting their service. And so that'd be a decision the council could make at that time. And
Okay.
that's not an unusual way to go. if
No,
it's accepted.
that's what we have in our REA and like the franchise, so.
Okay,
Okay,
and I didn't know if Carla had anything to add to that.
I do not.
Okay. Then that would be all I have unless there were questions.
okay, we're not voting on this tonight, is that correct? Doesn't look like it.
There's no motion to it.
Well, I think we want to make sure that language was acceptable.
Okay,
Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable in my eyes.
okay. So then we'll put this on the agenda to approve it next time. Okay. Then our second discussion item is Mr. Kent Parker, our landlord. And Kent, would you like to step forward and explain some of our options, please?
Good evening.
Hi.
I went through the leases and I saw that the current lease that I have with the city, the 2-year time period expires on August 31st. There is an optional 3rd year, which is available. But for some reason, which escapes me, we never talked about any type of a rent increase for that year 3. So that needs to be negotiated and approved by the council. There is other options that are available if you don't want to do the optional 3rd year. We can just go through and renew the lease if you want. What we did the first or the second time, we're on the 2nd year. The second lease is council just approved the original lease from when you folks moved in. So I need some sort of guidance as far as what you would like to see. Do you want to just do the optional 3rd year? And then a year from now, we can come back and talk about a renewal. Do you want to go into a whole brand new lease? Are there things in there that you want to add, subtract? We kind of need some guidance as far as what y'all want to see. And then with the renewal of the second lease, there was a statement in there that said I can negotiate with the mayor. And she can come back to the council with any proposals. So I'm open to whatever you folks would like to do.
I think no matter what, we're gonna have to probably look at a longer lease again. So in my direction would be that the mayor negotiate with you for a renewal of a 2-year lease.
Does anyone else feel differently?
I don't really think we have any other options right now.
Okay. So I guess. Does anyone else want to weigh in on this? Any other council members?
I think that was directed at you, sir.
Yeah, I guess not.
Sorry, I'm sitting here laughing. Nope, I'm fine. I'm supportive of where we're at. I'll leave my mute off.
That's fine. That's the direction that we go.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good, great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So now we will move on into items for approval. I'll move that piece out. Okay. So the first item for approval is confirmation of the position of maintenance worker, and we have Antonio Gonzalez in the audience. So Antonio, would you like to come up and say a few words to the council and tell them a little bit about your background?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Antonio Gonzalez, 24 years old. Grew up here in Benton City my whole life. Graduated in 2016. I moved out from home around late 2018 to Seattle. I lived over there for about 3 years and a half. I finished my apprenticeship program with the Carpenters Union, and then I moved back in 2022 to Tri-Cities, and I got my CDL license. And since October, I've been working for a different city, and now I'm hoping to join Benton City and be back to this community and give back as well. A formal way of giving back.
So you were 4 years in the Carpenters, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. And so anyway, we will ask council to confirm you.
Do you want to do two separate motions here?
We can do two separate ones, yes.
Okay, I'll motion to confirm Anthony, all right,
And Antonio, but I go by
Antonio.
Tony. Tony is fine.
Gonzalez for the position of maintenance worker one for the city of Benton City, Washington.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Sandra, do I?
Wadsworth, I.
Reed, I.
Hunk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Thank you. And thank you, Antonio, and welcome
Welcome.
aboard.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and it means a lot. And I will do my job with honor, integrity, and to the best of my ability. And I'm excited. So thank you very much.
Good to hear it. Thank you. Okay, then the next confirmation is the position of planning director. And Mr. George Kress is here. So good evening.
Well, good evening, Mayor Lehman, members of the council. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And before I go much further, I'd like to introduce my wife, Luann Ostergaard, who is a local Tri-Cities person and grew up in Pasco and Tri-Cities, and her dad was worked at the Port of Pasco for many years. It's great being here tonight. I'm very excited about the city and its opportunities. For the last 5 years, I've been employed by the city of Pendleton, and listening to your meeting activities, it's very similar to what we're doing down there in Pendleton. We have a few more activities going on down there, but it's the same things. And we're going through a housing development expansion. So it's similar to what's going to happen here when you come off your moratorium. And we're in the midst of a 200-acre development there too. So it's really exciting. It's mainly housing. Working quite a bit on the issues of flooding in Pendleton. When I moved out there, I didn't think it ever flooded, but the last couple of years, we've had 3 major floods. So very extensive work with the Army Corps and FEMA. And so it's been taking up a lot of my time. Again, we're dealing with the housing issues as well as folks who don't have housing and living on the streets. That's been a big item over there. And so we're working with that. But again, I'm really excited about being here. I think my skills and my experience can help. And I want to thank, before I go much further, I thought the interview process was very professional and respectful. And I want to compliment your staff on putting that together. I thought that was very well done.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Little background, before Pendleton, I worked for the city of Forest Grove, which is just west of Portland. And the city owned their own electric distribution system. And one of my old bosses became city manager there and hired me up. I had a lot of experience in the port industry and development of real estate and utilities. So I worked there. Prior to my education in Oregon, my dad was a LAPD for many years and retired there. My mom and dad came up from Southern California when I was young, and I finished up high school in Grants Pass and went to school and college in Oregon, and been working primarily on the west side, and got very tired of sitting on I-5 and Highway 26 for hours where you can go any place in the gridlock. And so I really much like Eastern Oregon and Eastern Washington. Met my wife 5 years ago over in Walla Walla, and we've been married 3 years. And she's got her own business, an artist in the local community, and keeps me really active. I have two grown children. I have a son in the Navy, and my daughter is a graphic artist in the Portland area and has been for a few years. So she recently graduated from Pacific Northwest College of Art. And so getting involved more and more in the art business. And my wife takes lovely pictures, and we build wooden frames together. So my carpentry skills are coming along. But we like this community. Before COVID hit, we were looking at buying a house just north of town, but that kind of fell through with the COVID issues. So I live about 18 minutes from here, so it's a nice, easy commute.
That's great. Okay. So we're asking council tonight to please confirm George Kress as our new planning director.
I motion to approve George Kress as the planning director for the city of Benton City, Washington.
Second,
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Sandra, do I?
Wadsworth, I.
Reed, aye.
Funk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries and
Thank
welcome
you very
aboard.
much.
I believe you're starting mid-May.
Mid-May.
Okay,
And again, thank you for the opportunity, and look forward to meeting you all and discussing what you'd like to see happen here in the town. And again, I like to help customers when they walk in the door. It's not always no. The land use laws are very complicated in many cases. And so we try to work and find a solution if we
Okay.
can.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thank
again.
you. Thank you. Okay. Our next item is speed reduction measures. Mr. Rainey.
I was wondering why it was up so high.
Yeah, oh, I guess sitting on a throne or something, but weird.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
So before you have a task order that I was asked to put in from last meeting to look at speed reduction measures, and we'll look at them on the 3 streets. You guys talked about 7th, Kendall, and Babs and 13th. And the plan is just to look at other measures that other cities have put in Richland, Pasco, and Kennewick, and maybe some in the county, see if they've done anything, but just come up with a plan to help slow down traffic on those roads.
And it looks like it's budgeted.
It looks like there's a move of some budget money for it.
Okay.
That dollars we got for the what's it called? Traffic calming measures, reduction in calming measures, speed stuff. We just got it, I think. From,
BF cog.
yes, thank you.
I don't remember what it's called though, specific. I don't remember the specific name.
You guys
Yeah.
did say it at one time. I do remember you guys saying that.
So I'll motion to approve that speed reduction measures task order 2023 S for Spink Engineering in the amount of $5,600.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Sandra, I.
Wadsworth, I.
Reed, I.
Funk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Just include tax.
No, no tax. We don't pay tax anymore. Okay. So the next item is resolution 2023-3 authorizing condemnation.
Do we need any discussion on it?
Yes, would you?
Well, very quickly, this is an item that you
Yes.
had to consider in previous meetings. This is a resolution that gives notice pursuant to state statute. The notice has to be given in advance of the council ordinance, which is the device that actually starts the condemnation. So we're just complying with the statute. RCW 824-290. 25-290.
I motion to approve ordinance for resolution 2023-03 authorizing condemnation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Sandra, I.
Wadsworth, I.
Reed, I.
Funk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay. Motion carries. All right, the next is resolution 2023-04. Authorizing the mayor to sign multimedia consulting contract agreement with Welch Consulting. Is there any discussion?
The only discussion, if that was a comment directed to me, the only discussion that I would offer is that this was essentially a redraft of some of the provisions that hadn't been included in there. There were some blanks, and so we've got everything covered in, as well as a resolution that then authorizes the contract. Otherwise, I think it's the same money, the same general discussion of tasks.
Right. Okay,
No other comments or anything. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-04 authorizing the mayor to sign the multimedia consulting agreement between the city of Benton, City, Washington and Welch Consulting.
Second.
all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Sandra, I.
Wadsworth, I.
Reed, I.
Funk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right. The next ordinance is ordinance 1052. Ordinance creating Benton City Municipal Code 13A02, public services generally. And let's discuss this one if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Did you want some comments?
Yeah,
me?
from you. Please.
Okay, some time ago, the council had a discussion on this, and we indicated that we would bring back some options. This is actually two of the options that were included in the collection of options that we presented. One is to strengthen the city code on 13A02-010, beefs up the language regarding the city's authority to decide how to go about operating its utilities. And then the next section, 020, puts water at the end of billing collections, so that if we had somebody paying two bills, the first one that would be paid would be sewer, and then the last one would be water. And that gives the city a little bit of an advantage in collection efforts, should that be necessary. There are some other things that we included as well in terms of responding. We do have a collection letter that can be used by the city. And that was one of the things. Other than that, until and unless we have to get to the point where either liens or collection items or litigation are coming in, that would not be part of this, but we at least prepared for those. I don't know if there are any other questions.
My only question is that you say it beefs up under 1010. And it does lay out some options there, I guess. I don't see no definitive line to follow.
Well, we don't want to be too definitive if, depending upon the circumstances, we might want to do one thing or another. What this does is this gives the city a range of things that it can do, rather than saying you must do this, or you can only do this, or silence, which may not be the clearest direction. So what this does is this includes the whole boatload of things that the city might need to do if, based upon the circumstances, we needed to move forward with some type of collection efforts or some type of response to billing issues.
I understand from our standpoint, that's a good deal. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking at how are we communicating this to the generalized public that A, B, and C could happen if you
Well,
don't pay your bill.
Ironically, that's what's included in the collection. That would be where you'd make some choices. And the need to take one step, maybe based upon circumstances that would be different than another circumstance. We're not going to go to collection or litigation on every single bill, but we want to make sure that that is clearly addressed in the overall authority of the city.
Okay.
So my understanding then is that this applies to people that have both sewer and water. It's
That-
not people that have just sewer.
That's the reason it's
Correct.
public utilities general.
Okay,
So it covers all. So it can be just sewer, it can be just water, it can be both. All right, I might as well get my name on there more. I motion to approve ordinance 1052, creating City of Benton City Municipal Code BC MC 13.A.02, public service generally.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Sandra, do I?
Wadsworth, aye.
Reed, I.
Funk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay, motion carries. All right. Now the last item on the approvals is the first reading of ordinance 1053, adopting the I-82 South Sub-Area Plan.
Is there any, I'll make a
Any
motion.
discussion?
I
I was
was
gonna do the
gonna say,
same.
Go for it.
I motion to approve ordinance 1053, adopting I-82 South Sub-Area Plan.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Sandra, do I?
Wadsworth, aye.
Reed, I.
Funk eye.
Alcazar, I.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. So now we will take a 10-minute break or 5-minute break and then move into executive sessions. And how long do you think we need?
Well, I'm not positive I know how long your item under G will
Yeah.
take.
Probably 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm.
So you're estimating 10. What do you got?
I think 20.
Total?
So half an hour?
Well, I
Yeah.
think 20, because there's some different facets that we want to make sure everybody understands.
We'll return at 7:55 to go into executive session for 30 minutes.
Okay,
So 10-minute break.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, council is,
Mayor, may I make a comment?
not now, Mr. Not now. It's not the proper time. Okay, calling the council meeting back into session. And are there any comments from the council?
I do have a request. I was asked for information on if there's an emergency in the community, who are the contact people for that? Any type of emergency.
So Monday through Friday, contact
Mhm.
City Hall,
Okay,
588
3322.
3322. Anytime after city staff goes home, 5 o'clock usually,
mhm,
because they're staggered, I believe, right? 4 o'clock. Okay. So after 4 o'clock, you're gonna want to call 509-628-0333. You'll get Benton County's non-emergency dispatch. State your emergency, city of location, and your address. And they will attempt to call out city staff. May take a little bit, but somebody will come out.
okay, so there's no one specifically city official wise that they would contact
They'll
if
contact.
it's after.
They'll contact Jose to start, and then they'll go
Jose,
down the chain.
is that
Yeah.
what you said? Okay.
That's who the
Non-emergency.
non-emergency will contact.
Okay,
If you're talking a number for one of us, most people call us anyway. I got the call one night, hey, we've been trying to get somebody out. There's a water leak downtown. Huh? It's 2:30 in the morning.
and they called you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I went down there. By the time I got there, Jose showed up. And he's like, oh, that's irrigation water. I'll call the irrigation guy. So he called them. And I said, well, not that I'm your boss or anything, but I think you need to go get the vac truck because that cul-de-sac down there is flooding into people's yards. And you
okay,
need to go take care of that. But we get the calls at home, at least myself, and I know Bill.
Me too.
Linda,
I'm already on scene.
yeah.
okay,
So there is, people know who to reach out to, some people.
okay,
But for the generalized public, those are the two numbers that you need to call during those specific hours.
okay. This is for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. This is the area that's part of the stake, and so they are compiling emergency information for the whole area in Prosser and Grandview and Benton City and West Richland. That's what.
That
Well,
would
it's just
be
for
the
the-
generalized public. Otherwise, as far as the church goes, you can be a liaison to them, and
Okay,
then you can call Linda or Bill. Or
okay. Actually, I don't have anyone's numbers.
It's public record.
Yeah.
Okay,
All of our numbers are public record.
I know.
They are on the voter website, I think.
They are.
And if they're not,
They should be.
Okay,
you can
They are.
request
okay.
Wendy's on.
through city staff. Somebody I'm sure would be happy to provide all those to you.
Yeah.
I think I have everybody's number except for yours.
Me too. I
Oh.
agree. Same thing.
Okay,
So
And then I just had one thing, just a reminder from when I attended the Benton County Mosquito Control Board meeting that this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. is the tire drive. So if you know anybody, neighbors, anything like that here in Benton City that might have some tires building up around their house, that they can take them there and drop them off, and doesn't cost them anything. So it's just right there in West Richland. So it's an easy drive for us.
I have one more comment, I think, for the good of the group too, that I should bring up quickly, which is that we understand that the city is now documented. This was confirmed by Jenny, that the permit to get the kiosk constructed, we have all the notes in the file. So the kiosk at Sportsman's Park and the other kiosks are going to be constructed in the next couple of weeks. And then this Saturday and next Saturday, we'll be doing just trash pickup trash pickup, I think, all around the city, not only at the Sportsman's Park, as we continue cleanup efforts.
How
So I think that
exciting.
there'll be room for signage, and we're in contact with Tap Till Greenway so they can get some water warning signs put back up in their map. And I think city staff has some other signs that they work and desire to put up as well.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. So with that. I'll-
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I.
Okay,
Done, Diddy.
Thank you. Good night.
adjourned.
This is your home.
So done, so.